Happy New Year, everybody. We're going to make sure that we are indeed live. Check this in places. It's a very Monday kind of Tuesday, so things can go awry, but we're all is well. Good to see everybody. Happy 2024. I hope you've had an amazing and restful and inspiring winter break. And you're ready to just tackle the new year. You ready for it to start back up? I need to clean my house. That's what needs to happen before we go back to real life. But, there are other things, right? So if this is your first time getting a weekly video from me, I want to kind of introduce myself and tell you what in the world this is. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Allison Jensen. I'm the owner of Orange Easel School of Art. And every week on usually Monday mornings, however, today, of course, it's Tuesday. Yesterday was a holiday. I'm usually on Monday mornings, and it's usually before 10 a.m. I go live on YouTube, and I talk through every single one of our classes and what the kids are learning in those classes every single week. The reason I do that is because if you have a kid like mine and you say, how was basketball practice? Then I get like a one-word answer, and I don't really know what happened or how it was or what they're learning or what they're working on or anything. So for those of you who do like to know that information, we will talk about that in our weekly videos. We talk about kind of what the step is or the benchmark is for the project for our multimedia kids. We talk about what the lesson is for our drawing kids. We go through each one. Now, if you're catching it live, you have no choice but to just listen to the full 30-minute video with me. But if you're checking the replay, which is for most of our parents, if you're getting the replay, there are timestamps. And so you can just watch the part that, is about your kid's class. Some of our kids like to watch the video too, for those kids that like to know kind of what's coming up. Now, you always want to watch the intro section, which is what this is, because we'll go over any oddities in the schedule during intro. And then you always want to watch the housekeeping section of the video as well, where we talk about kind of studio-wide, maybe, again, anything strange is going on with the schedule, days off, that kind of stuff. We'll go over any deadlines that are happening. So like submission deadlines. One of them that will come up will be a submission for the art show, right? So that's coming up in April. And so there will be information in housekeeping about the art show. And it won't just be one time. It'll be multiple times in videos. I try to give everybody lots of notice and lots of chances. Registration deadlines, that kind of stuff, and any other random things that are going on. Now, I do email this video out to our families. So if you're enrolled in a class, you'll get this like video emailed out to you. And if you look at the bottom of that email, like all the way down, there's a Cliff Notes version of everything I say typed up into bullet points. So if you're like, I do not like to get my information in video form, Allison, I've got you because I've got it in bullet point form. So you can just read that if you're like, I don't want to listen to you talk. I won't take it personally. Just know that sometimes in the videos, one of the reasons I like video is I can actually go grab student artwork from the studio and show you where we're at in the process and where we're going. So I can't do that in Cliff Notes, but in a video. All right. Anything else in the intro I need to talk about? I do want to mention that it's kind of a weird week for us. We're still in winter break. A lot of the schools are still out. So we're still also on winter break. We try to match up with the school schedule. We very rarely do, but if we can, we try to. So there are no classes until Thursday of this week. And then it's only the drawing and multimedia students. You guys are my 4-time-a-month classes, so we got to get you in. So drawing and multimedia students will meet on Thursday, and that's it. There are no Friday classes because all you Friday people are 3-time-a-month, so I don't need to get you in. And then we'll actually roll all the way to Monday, and next Monday will be our first like full week back with everybody doing everything and all the amazingness. Okay, we'll talk about that in next week's video. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Okay, so preschool stuff. Here we go. Not a lot to chat about with preschool this week because, again, there are no preschool classes this week in the studio. Now, preschool kiddos, you guys are a 3-time-a-month class, meaning, you're always going to have an off week. Sometimes you're going to have 2 off weeks. So looking at like the month of January, I think there's like 5 Tuesdays. Yes, there are 5 Tuesdays in the month of January. So not only do you take this week off, you also take the 30th off. So you're going to have 2 off days. Now, some people get confused, especially my 3 time a month people, because you're like, how do I know when an off day is? And why does it just feel random? I promise it's not random. The schedule is determined like in July for the entire year for all the classes. And there's a couple places you can go to find that schedule. The first is when you registered on the class listing, and this is the best way to do it, guys. When you register for your class, click the calendar icon and see all the dates, and then put those dates in your calendar, and then you know. After the fact, it's a little bit harder to find that class listing, especially here in a couple weeks when I take all those listings and make them harder to find because we don't register online after the semester starts. So once the class, you've already registered and you're like, well, I didn't do that, Allison. Now where can I find my schedule? Now you can find your schedule in your Sawyer account. So you'll actually go into the Sawyer dashboard. You have your own account. That's how you registered, right? That has your credit card saved in it. It has your kids' profiles. It's where you can update allergen information. It's where you can also see your classes. So you can actually, it like goes to my account and then it goes to calendar and it'll pull up a graphic for you and show you your calendar of classes. If you have multiple kids, it's indicated, who is who. And if you click on that little listing, it'll tell you the dates and times and places and all the stuff. You can even export that to your Google Calendar or your, if you use iCalendar. So all of that information is there in your Sawyer account. And you don't even have to remember how to do it because we have a website just for you guys where you can find all the information and instructions on how to get to Sawyer. So if you go to the footer of our website and it says for current students, click on that. Click on that. That has everything you need. So you never have to remember all the tutorials on how to get into Sawyer. We put it on a web page just for you. So go to for current students and it'll tell you how to find your schedule inside your Sawyer account so that you have that information. Or if you're like, that's too much, can't do that, just make sure you watch the weekly videos every week and I will tell you if you have class, okay? So preschool kids, no classes this week. We'll start next week. It is our light and dark month. Is out of our art concept that we're talking about is contrast and light and dark. We're also looking at landscapes and the art of Vincent van Gogh. We will kick off our month reading Where the Wild Things Are and playing in some black light spaces. Multimedia peoples. All right, multimedia. Sometimes I split these out and we talk about each group. We'll do a little bit of that today, but we're kind of going to lump you all together since the beginning of the month. It is acrylics month. Remember those multimedia classes, they change their medium every single month. So far this year, we've done pastels, we've done clay, we've done ink, and we've done watercolors. That was the first semester. In the next semester, we start with acrylics. Woo! And then we go to mixed media, printmaking, printmaking, then mixed media, then fiber arts, and then metals. So we're going to kick off with acrylics. This is a not washable paint. So parents out there, really big deal. This is not washable stuff. And as you can see, these are my youngest group. We're making big paintings this year. So these are the big giant abstract paintings that my K first, second, third, and K third classes will all be working on. And so make sure you wear paint clothes, not just we have t-shirts we can throw on them like a smock, but pants too, guys. Pants, because they take their hands. I do it, wipe it on my pants. No, wear art clothes. Pick an outfit and just wear it for the entire month. We're not trying to splat paint or anything. I'm just saying there's a lot of paint, there's a lot of colors, so it's gonna get on them. Make sure you wear old clothes to the studio. These giant paintings are on, dimensions are so hard for me. 24 by 30-inch multimedia mixed media paper by Canson. It's an amazing, almost poster size piece of paper, and they will paint a different layer, texture, mark, and color every single week. So our first task is getting the background colored. So we'll do that using scrape painting, using painting cards. Most of this, or a lot of it, is done with unique painting tools. So we will use some brushes, but we'll also use sponges and rollers, mark making tools, that kind of stuff. We'll talk a lot about pattern, which for those of us who are in November, we already have a background on pattern and mark making. So it'll be exciting to see. It's always fun to see what they can pull from other projects into this one. This is our multimedia project for our little bit older kids. This is the 4th and 5th grade. We're going to be doing pet and animal portraits. So these are on 11 by 14-inch canvases this year. So this one's interesting because it involves a little bit of drawing, and then of course all the painting on top of that. I say pet and animal because if you're like, I don't really want to paint a portrait of my cat, that's okay. You obviously, not that this amazing artist doesn't have a bald eagle at home, but I'm guessing probably not. And so I know his parent, probably for sure not. So the bald eagle painting was an animal portrait, and so we have pictures that they are going to reference. Obviously, I don't have a picture of your cat. So we've got animal pictures, but if you have like this one here is actually my daughter years and years and years ago. She'd probably be mortified if I'm showing it. It's probably like 5 years ago for her, maybe 4. I don't know. So this is one of my dogs. This is Sophie. I think might be Titan. They look alike. Great painting. Dogs look alike. So pink color, though, tells me it's probably Sophie, one of our Great Danes. And so we obviously brought a photo in for her to work from. Now, I do have a way for you to submit a photo because who has a printer, right? And if you bring me one that's really glossy, it's harder to work from. And I cannot guarantee that you get it back in a great condition. So I don't want you to bring one that you like, oh, here's the framed photo of Fluffy. Like, that's not good. So I have a link that I'll include in the email that goes out. I'm also going to email each and every one of our 4th and 5th and homeschool classes separately. So you guys have it where you can submit a photo to us to print. We'll use our printers here in the studio and we'll just print it and throw it in the class cubbies. And so that way your artists have it for the actual class. Okay. And like, if you show up to class and you don't have a picture, then we'll figure it out. That's like, your kids can text mom and dad from my phone, or we'll figure it out. Our first step in the process is to draw the picture, draw the pet on the canvas. We have to get them drawn. We might do an underpainting. We did this a little bit last year with a few of the classes, especially the homeschool classes, which tend a little younger, where we did an underpainting and painted the whole thing first and then drew on top of that. So some of the classes might go that step. The instructors know their classes best. I can't tell you whether they'll draw and then just paint in the background that kind of cut in, or if they'll paint the whole thing and then draw on top. But I do know that first benchmark is to get both the background and the drawing done. So that way we can spend 3 more weeks getting all of the blocking in details in the pet portrait. We also have a technique for the kids that are really intimidated by the drawing step of this. Taking a photograph and drawing from it is not a painting skill. That kind of like observational art. That's what we do in the drawing classes. And so for a lot of our artists who take multimedia, that's like a huge obstacle right in the way to be like, well, I see this picture that I have and I see this canvas, but how do I get this picture onto this canvas? Like, some kids really struggle with that. So we have ways, especially if we've printed your picture, to scale it right to the same size as the canvas. And then we have carbon paper and other techniques where we can use to transfer that photo into guidelines on their canvas for them. They'll do all the transferring. We won't do it for them, but we'll help them get that and teach them those techniques so that the drawing step doesn't hinder the painting, which is really the purpose of the class. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. My last multimedia class division is the 6th, 7th, and 8th through 12th kids, and these guys are doing disco balls. Now, this is a new project for us, so this we did a little bit of disco balls with our summer camps, but of course that's a much younger crowd because that's ages 4 to 12. This one here is ages like my big kids, right? So my 6th grade on up are going to do disco balls. We're painting on cardboard cake rounds. So it's already a round kind of canvas that we're working on. They've got a lot of steps in this. The first of which is doing the grid and deciding also the perspective. So this perspective of this disco ball is almost straight on, but a little bit above. Can you tell that? Because you can kind of see the top of the disco ball, right? But if you see it from below, which is how most of the time we see a disco ball, it looks totally different. So they'll choose their perspective and grid it out. We've tried this project a few different ways. Actually, I invited my son, who's a high schooler, his girlfriend, and my daughter, who's also a high schooler, to come in over the weekend. I was like, I need you to test a project for me. And so they came in and we learned a lot about the process and what works best for them, because how I painted is not always how other people paint. And so We are going to go ahead and do the gridding in Sharpie. But then our goal would be to get all the Sharpie covered with paint. So those grid lines will eventually be covered in acrylic paint. There'll be a lot of color theory in this and a lot of understanding color theory on a value scale. So a lot of color wheel stuff. It's going to be great, you guys. And at the end, we can add glitter. And little sawtooth hangers so they can hang on the wall. All right, let's talk about creative explorations. Oh, just a quick reminder on multimedia, because I didn't say it. But I did on the other one. Only the Thursday classes meet this week. Okay, moving on. Creative explorations. None of our creative explorations classes meet this week. They are a 3-time-a-month class, just like the preschool classes. So they always have off days. And that kind of scheduling flexibility, unlike the 4-time-a-month classes, much less flexibility. A 3-time-a-month class allows us flexibility to have longer breaks. So we can follow this school schedule. So my Friday, Liberty people, my Wednesday, Platte Woods people. Don't come to class this week. See you next week. These are our stations for the month. Remember, creative explorations are a process art-based class. They're station-based learning. So it's not something that like the teacher stands in front and is like, okay, everybody, the first step in your disco ball is to choose your underpainting. It's not like that. And then everybody does that. But instead, where we put out stations where they will get to explore acrylic painting, but they do it on their terms. And an instructor is there to facilitate, scaffold. If there's a group that has an interest, we might take it and run with it. But we're really looking for them to drive and make their class. So there is an art history activity every single month. There's kind of a quiet station where there's journal activity. This month it'll be paper snowflakes. We do a collaborative station. There's a winter landscapes, which kind of draws from drawing, even though it's still painting. And I think we're going to do that one with tempera only because once you get vertical with acrylic paint, it can be dangerous. So we'll do it with washable tempera and painted winter landscapes there. And we'll have our reference photos just like we do for the drawing classes. Talk about in a minute. The still life drawing is a tie into our light, dark, and contrast curriculum that's happening in preschool classes. So we'll have shadow tracing set up, a lot of light play, and then again with contrast, kind of a black and white Play-Doh. All right, my drawing classes. Which ready? So the only drawing classes that meet are Thursday. If you are in a Thursday drawing class, this is for you. If you are not in a Thursday drawing class, if you're in a Monday class or Tuesday class, you can watch this because you're coming next week and this is what you're going to do. But I'm going to tell you the same thing next week. Yeah. All right. So Thursday drawing people for week 1 of January, drawing 101, my youngest class. This is a playful, exploratory type class. We want to make sure that everybody in this class feels successful in this class. So my drawing 101 classes are going to use observational skills. We're going to use our eyeballs, and we're going to draw kitchen utensils. We have an assortment of whisks, and spatulas, and I don't know, things that aren't sharp, of course, kitchen utensils that we'll lay out on the table. It's not a still life in that we're going to gather them in an arrangement and then not touch them. We're going to do that later in the month with winter gear, but this one is more like a manipulative. So I can grab that whisk and I can note it, and I can look at it, set it down, I can turn it around, I can see it from different angles. And using my powers of observation, I will draw that utensil. We're going to draw in markers, Sharpie markers. Then they'll draw all the utensils that they want. And then we're going to do an imaginative compilation. So they'll cut those out and put them together into some sort of fantastical machine that they can invent. So all these gadgets and utensils will be collaged together. We're going to talk about how to use lines to illustrate movement or vibration. And so that way people can understand what's happening in their machine. This is a combination of both observational drawing and illustrative techniques. So we're excited to see what they can do with that. And adding a collage element to it is always really fun. All right. Drawing 102, I guess I don't have a slide for it, but we're just going to leave this slide up, but we're going to talk through all 5 drawing classes. Drawing 102, advanced realistic. Class is very lesson focused. This serves as our exercise for the week. So we're always going to have a warm up because that's what you do for exercises. And then we're always going to have kind of a lesson that maybe you've heard before, maybe you've done it before. But it's going to work those drawing muscles and you're going to learn something and get better as you do it. My my first week is on photograph. So we're going to draw from photograph. We always draw from photograph, from still life, and from our imagination. Every single month, there's a lesson in each one because those are all different drawing muscles that we have to work. And then the fourth week is a wild card. So we'll start with our photograph lesson. The photographs are winter landscapes, which I mentioned in our creative explorations. And they're very colorful. They're snowy landscapes with a lot of color. A lot of them are at sunset or sunrise. So that casts some amazing colors onto the snow. So these landscapes have a foreground, a midground, and a background. And that we're going to talk a lot about those words. We're going to talk about words like horizon. We'll discuss some principles of perspective and understanding like things that are farther away from us look duller because of the atmosphere, right? The saturation goes down. They also get blurry. They also get smaller, and understanding those principles. And then we're going to use chalk pastels to render those. So should be a good one. I'm trying to think what else I need to tell you about that. Oh, and the other goal, not just foreground, midground, background, and perspective, is just that like switch that has to flip that snow isn't white. I mean, it is, but visually, it's not. Some of our acrylic artists will have to do the same thing. So if you watch the part about our pet portraits, some of our acrylic artists are going to have the same, hopefully, light bulb moment when they're like, my cat is white. You're going to be like, that's what you think. Yeah, should be fun. All right, Drawing 102 comic and cartoon this week. Again, only Thursday classes are meeting for my comic and cartoon kids. This one, remember all last semester for Drawing 102, we focused very heavily on character creation, on like original character creation. Every feature from like head shape to facial features to body shape to clothing to hands to feet to, the figure in movement and all that stuff, right? Well, now we're going to drill into some actual drawing, like techniques that we use in comic drawing. For a lot of our kids, this is an absolute review. That doesn't mean that like it's not good. You got to review this stuff. You got to practice these skills. We're going to start by reviewing line weight and why it's important. And it's not just about like, how do I use line weight? I mean, like, how do I literally make this line thicker? Because, I mean, that's not hard, guys. You just get a bigger marker or you put another line next to it and the line becomes thicker. It's not just about that. It's also understanding why you would use it and where you would use it and how you would use it and the consequences, positive and negative, from using it. So we're going to do some exercises in line weight and how it changes our drawings. So that way, when it comes time to make those decisions as an artist, you can make them intelligently. All right, my Drawing 103, or my Drawing 10, yes, we're on to 103. Drawing 103 classes, there's two of those. These are project-based classes. The other ones are lesson-based, very academic, very like drill and exercise focused. And then 103 becomes our project lessons. These are the oldest kids in my drawing class. They work for an entire month on one project, kind of similar to our multimedia kids, where it takes a full month to finish a project, except it's always drawing. So my comic kids are going to create a 3-panel again, which if you were with us in December, that was our first time we did panels. So they'll grid out, which is a skill in comic drawing. They'll grid out 3 panels. And this time it's a correlation between a word, like a text in art that has to be artfully done, right? So think like graffiti style, think like word art, and a character that go together. So the word describes the character, probably an action or an emotion, right? And then the character illustrates the word. So those two things go together and they will have 3 panels. So 3 words, 3 characters, 3 different meanings. Should be an interesting challenge to see what they pick. And then my 103s for advanced realistic are going to be working with a new medium. They're going to work with white charcoal. We have white charcoal pencils, white charcoal in a compressed form. And they're going to be doing a still life of light bulbs. So they'll work on black paper. We actually have light bulbs in the studio, both the frosted and the clear. So this is a crazy exercise in reflections and shadows. We'll set it up on a black background since they'll be working on black paper. And they will create their composition first, and then they will draw their composition using those tools. Because of the way our classes work, because like they only come once a week, it's not a 7-hour class. they will take a picture of their composition using like a smartphone device or one of the instructor's phones to work from. So the only time they'll actually work from life is just deciding their composition. After that, they'll work from photograph because they'll capture it in a photograph. It becomes a lot easier in a classroom setting for them to then have a reference photo instead of us trying to keep the still life from moving week in and week out. But I think it'll be a really great exercise for them. A lot of positive, negative space tricks. I also look forward to introducing grid drawing to some of these kids because sometimes your brain plays tricks on you when you start to see clear things with shadows and reflections in them. And so it'll help to break it down into a grid, and then you can just draw what you see instead of trying to interpret it. We're doing really good, you guys. We're like sailing through, probably because I have nothing to hold up and show you or shuffle things around. Next week I will. All right, housekeeping stuff that's going on. So my December makeups, I want to talk about those. If you were in December classes, and I mean, it was December, right? And you didn't get a chance to finish your December multimedia project, your December drawing project, one of your December lessons, and you're like, oh, the year's over. That's not really the case. Like, you can still come in for makeups. Liberty has makeups happening this week on Wednesday night. And Platwoods has makeups happening this week on Friday night. And if you're like, oh, we're not even ready to do normal stuff yet, Allison, then do it next week or the week after. It's fine. Sometime in the month of January or February. It's fine. But come do your December stuff. Make a reservation. Come in and see us. And if you're new and you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about, Allison, it's okay. Go to the For Current Students website, page on the website, and there's a link, and it'll take you to the makeups page, and you can read all about how the makeups work. If you miss a class for any reason, the makeups are there for you. Spring special events. The calendar for special events is live and on the website. I think our first one to register for is Valentine's Day. So it's our new one, doing Valentine's Day thing on a Saturday morning before Valentine's Day. If you want to come and make Valentine's, we'll have stations set up. Be very similar to our egg decorating workshop that we do every year. So be stations, you come in and just move through them and make fun Valentines with everybody. Okay, so that's coming up. Registration, I think, opens on the 15th. You can read more about it. But there's spring break stuff up there. Mother's Day, Easter, yeah, all those things. Okay. And then summer. Let's talk summer. I posted to social media today with some dates, and I'm going to try to tell you them here. You ready? Next week, which is the 8th through the, I don't know, 12th, maybe, probably. The 8th through the 12th, we have summer sneak peeks happening. So that's just kind of a short preview of little bits and pieces of the programming that are happening. It's just to generate interest and get people excited about it. The full reveal of the summer catalog happens on the 15th. So we'll have it live and on the website. Now, that is not registration. That is just time for you to look at it, get excited, share it with your friends, talk to people, see if things match up with your calendar, make your game plan, ask questions to me. That's a good time to ask some questions to me. Never too early. You can ask me summer questions. Heck, you can ask me fall 2024 questions if you want to. So but we put it out there, even though registration doesn't start till March, we put it out there so that people, you're not trying to look at it, make your decisions, and register all on the same day, because that's stressful. So summer registration is stressful enough. We don't need to make it more stressful. Okay? The other dates you'll need to know: if you are a Studio Club member, your registration for summer opens on March 15th. Oh my gosh, I got that wrong. March 1st. Everybody else is March 15th. Okay. So Studio Club members, March 1st is when we will open it live to you, so you can get the spaces that you want to. For the most part, if you are a Studio Club member for the spring semester, you are pretty much guaranteed anything you want in the catalog. Pretty much. Because there's not that many of you anyway. So you get it. But you do only have those 15 days to go ahead and do it. And then when the registration opens on the 15th, it opens at 9 a.m. And then it's just a race till when Glitterfest fills. One of these days, one of the camps is going to usurp Glitterfest. I just don't know what it's going to be. When we get closer to registration opening, we'll start taking, maybe we'll run a contest. Facebook contests have gotten weird, you guys, so I can't really, I'll look at it. We'll look at maybe a different platform for a contest because it's fun to predict which one's going to sell out first. we're just going to put Glitterfest off like as an option. You can tell me the second one that's going to fill out. How's that? So we've got some fun things coming for summer. Like I said, we'll do previews next week on social media, so check those out. It'll be on Instagram, like stories. It'll be on Facebook stories, and then it'll probably be on Facebook posts as well, and Twitter. We'll probably put them on Twitter for my 7 followers who love Twitter. I like Twitter. I mean, I don't post on it much, but I like it. I think that's everything I have for you guys. That's it. That's it. If you know anyone who hasn't signed up yet for this semester, remind them that they need to. That's the next thing on my to-do list tomorrow, is to go through and see like who was here in December and not signed up in January, and send some, like, no pressure. Like, if you're not coming back, it's okay. But if you think you're signed up, you're not. So that's the next part of my to-do list. But all right, you guys, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week, I guess, the rest of your break, and that, you know, you come back refreshed and ready to tackle 2024. We can't wait to see you.